Hello beauties, my name is Shaz. I feel like I haven't done a get ready with me style video in this channel in quite a while, and I thought today is a good day for it. We're going to talk about life updates, no buy updates, job search updates, and everything in between. Let's get started. We have some coffee. I'm going to use some products that I frankly bought from ColourPop at their last sale a month or 2 months ago that I have not had a chance to try. This is their eye primer. You all know, because I do a lot of eyeshadow looks, I love trying new primers so that you all can get some perspective of how they look like, particularly on hooded eyes. If you all follow me, you know that I got laid off very recently. I was told around 10-ish days ago that Friday, which is the last business day from the day that I'm filming, it was going to be my last day, and I had like 10 days to wrap things up. These are the two palettes that Batty Bean did in collaboration with Shroud. I'm going to use these because these are very fall appropriate, and I realized I haven't touched them in a while. I want to combine these two, and I'm just going to use a whole lot of brushes that I have right here, just a jumble of different brands. One thing that I mentioned in my last Around Not to Buy, that is the video posted right before this one, is that I'm going into this color. A lot of people are experiencing layoff these days, particularly if you, like me, work in the tech industry. A little bit about myself for perspective. I have 2 master's degrees. One is an MBA, one is in applied mathematics, and I worked in product development for a software company. Now, a lot of people are telling you this is because of generative AI or those kinds of changes in the market. Now, that is true and not. You can make certain roles redundant by replacing them with generative AI, but I feel that certain roles might be eliminated because those roles might be in areas that the company decides to not invest in anymore. So for example, if you work in developing a certain product that's outside of AI and company decides this product is going nowhere, they might want to cut the budget for that product and focus it on generative AI, which is now the big thing. So that I could see as a possibility for why a lot of tech layoffs are happening, but this actually was not exactly the issue with my role. I worked for a very small startup company, and it could not have been that because the company was not going to invest in generative AI. If you all remember, I had to travel to Spain. So that's because our development team was in Spain. And originally the company wanted to expand the US team, but I think they came to the realization that they should instead just hire someone for this role in Spain, which monetarily makes sense. And unfortunately, most companies make decisions based on money. It's a business at the end of the day. I'm liking this. I'm now using this brush from Glam Shop to go into this deep purple shade, and I'm going to use it to deepen the outer edge. Now, what transpired made me take a step back and start thinking about what do I want to do next. I almost feel like I never really had a chance to think about my life in this way and thinking about like, where is my life headed, where is my career headed, what do I want to do. The tech market is not doing well still. Frankly, the day I got laid off, I applied to a lot of jobs online and radio silence. I haven't heard anything back, but just the fact that I haven't heard anything back like 10 days later tells me, you know, a lot of these are probably fake jobs. They might not even be hiring, or jobs who might already have somebody in mind, but they had to post something until that person goes through the interview process and actually they give them the job. So I'm not too confident that everything I see online is real. And beauties, if this is happening to you, my recommendation is you should apply for unemployment. I have seen videos online of people who say, I feel so ashamed applying for unemployment, which to me sounds kind of ridiculous, but that seems to be something that capitalism kind of puts in your head, this shame of if you are using government benefits, you should feel bad about it.
Beauties, I felt that here I didn't explain very well why I said that this is a capitalist mentality. So let me explain a little bit. Employers in most states in the US pay for unemployment benefits, so it is to your employer's advantage if you do not apply for unemployment benefits because they essentially don't have to pay for unemployment. And this is a benefit you're entitled to as part of working for that employer. Unless you feel like you owe your employer something, which again, I don't understand. The employer just laid you off. And hopefully, during the time that you worked for them, you worked during the hours that they were paying you. So you should not feel ashamed or bad applying for this benefit. You're entitled to it.
I'm going to use this one, like a pin-headed brush. I'm going to go into this orange one. I want to do my lower lash line. Please don't feel bad applying for unemployment. It's money that you're entitled to. Also, your employer is not doing you any favor laying you off. There's a few other things I'm in the process of doing. I already mentioned it seems like generative AI is becoming the next big thing. So I went online and signed up for courses online on generative AI to get a deeper understanding of them. I used to work on developing a product that was in the machine learning space. With a flat-headed brush, I'm going back in this and I'm deepening out the lower lash line with it. I think if you are working in technology, it's to your advantage right now having a lot of familiarity with AI because it's the buzzword of the day, and there are a lot of jobs in my field that have AI in them. Now, we saw this, or I saw this with machine learning a few years ago. People would not even have machine learning in their product, but they would claim that they did, and they would like exaggerate what they're offering is and what their product does by claiming it had more advanced science in it than it actually had. In all honesty, I wouldn't be surprised if that's still what's happening out there. You know, it's the whole marketing of things. But learning about new technologies that are going to be used is not going to steer you wrong regardless. Another thing that I've been thinking about doing, but I've not really taken any concrete action on, is migrating. I've mentioned in my videos in the past that I have family in Australia, and I've thought about migrating to Australia. So I started looking at the requirements to maybe put a package together for that kind of a migration. Now, the challenges there is that there are some software companies that are known out of Australia, like Atlassian, like Canva, which is one of my favorite products, but it's not like the US where there are thousands and thousands of software companies. So jobs might be more limited, but competition is less, or it could be more because jobs are limited. One trend that I'm seeing is that a lot of jobs are going back into the office. Now, the job that I had was in the office, but of course, if the job requires you to go back to the office, or even if it's hybrid, you have to live in the city where the job is. And there are significantly less opportunities in Austin than there would be in, for example, if I lived in the Bay Area. So I'm staying open minded to the possibility of having to move, although it's not something that's ideal. I have made the decision that I really don't want to retire in the US. I feel like in the US, and I think this is a product of capitalism, and I'm a capitalist, but I still feel like this is the negative part of it, is that in the US, we overemphasize working, and I'm a workaholic, so I can easily get sucked into the job and forget about my own personal life. And I don't think living in a country that perpetuates that mentality and rewards that kind of mentality is something I want to do in my older years. Now, maybe for the next 20 years that wouldn't matter, but it's more difficult to migrate to another country if you're at retirement age. So if I want to do that, I need to plan for it now. I also absolutely despise the American healthcare system. And the older you get, the more you need that. Don't get me started on that because I find that insane that I pay so much taxes and I don't get any kind of healthcare benefit from the government. It's almost like, it almost feels like the government views me as a workhorse and a money generating machine. I almost feel like the government is not doing enough for me, which then brings me to the unemployment benefit conversation, that if you are entitled to that, definitely get it from the government. Okay, there's a tiny bit of patchiness. Maybe it's because of this. I don't know. This is the first time I'm using this. It takes me a few times of usage for me to get used to the best application to get the most seamless outcome. But of course, with some primers, whatever you do, it might not be the ideal primer for my skin. Although losing your job can be a traumatic event, and it's also not the ideal scenario, and it generally has the propensity to put people in a maybe depressed situation, I'm trying to keep positive about it, and I keep thinking to myself that maybe this is meant to be. Maybe where I was at was not the ideal place, and this is the universe's way of telling me there is something better for you out there. At least I like to think that. There are a few things I can do to become a very attractive candidate for the next job, separate from upgrading my skills to match what the market needs. It's also the internal work of keeping a positive attitude, which arguably is more difficult than upgrading your technical skills. So there's a few options that I have. I could do one of these two oranges. Do I want to do orange? Or maybe that's a very been there, done that kind of a shade. I want to do orange because then it also goes with the lower lash line. Yeah, let's do orange. And I want to do this one because it's so beautiful. And I'm also looking at this situation as an opportunity to maybe clean up my life in order to get ready down the road to migrate to another country. Obviously, if I'm migrating, I need to downsize. Even if I'm moving, if I have to move for a job, I need to downsize. I need to get rid of a lot of the stuff that I have, or repurpose them, or give them away, or sell them. Since I moved to Austin 4 years ago, I've not really gone through a full overhaul of the house. And frankly, this time of the year, recruiting slows down a little bit, particularly at the end of October. So it's almost something I can't control a whole lot either. I'm probably not going to have a lot of interviews happening in November and December. So maybe this is a good opportunity for me to go through everything that I have and figure out what I want to do with them. Also, this time of the year is when all the sales start happening and all the new products, holiday products, start releasing. So I need to develop a discipline to not buy as much because no money's coming in. I already decided to go on a no buy October because I know November and December are difficult months when it comes to purchases. I am going to do a separate video talking about my no buy October. Stay tuned for that. Also, let me quickly tell you what I'm wearing on my nails. On my right hand, I'm wearing Cliona Lineage, which is the lacquer form of their electric multichrome shade of the same name. This is a beautiful shade, as you can see. And on my left hand, I'm wearing Cliona Hilt, also a lacquer version of a Cliona multichrome. Okay, friends, I just put Las Olas from Ofra Long Lasting Liquid Lips on my lips. This is a very beautiful fall appropriate shade. If you enjoyed this video, as always, don't forget a thumbs up. And if you enjoy these kinds of videos, or if you enjoy seeing me on camera, don't forget to subscribe. I love you all. Have an amazing day. And until next time, bye.